Hey, and thank you for clicking play. I'm actually working on a really special video at the moment, but I just want to drop something this week. So what I thought I'd do is something I was thinking about doing, which is basically bore the crap out of you with my holiday photos, but I'll try and keep them to the nostalgia and retro related. So I have put together a curated collection here. So this is from my UK trip of this year, of 2024. Yeah, the video I'm working on, I will drop it next week one way or the other, but I'm waiting on hopefully some really special period correct photos. If I don't get them, I think we've still put together a good video. Next week, next Friday, you'll get one version or the other. Okay, so look forward to that. But yeah, I'll just quickly take you through these photos. Like I say, I'll try and keep them to retro or nostalgia related, and this is a curated collection. Let's get into it, because I don't want it to go for too long. Nobody likes looking through somebody else's holiday photos, right? But hey, whatever. So just to start, I mean, my leave this week, I was very fortunate, it was it was 2 months worth of leave. Won't bore you with the details, but that started off here at home in Perth, in the Perth Hills. And of course I started it at my favourite bar, having a drink, and there's a reason I'm including this photo. But yeah, it's a nice bar, overlooks Main Street, going down the hill. Love it. It's called the Tap House in Kalamunda. Absolutely love it. So why is that not working? Because I hadn't pressed anything. I don't know where. This might actually be at the airport. It's another drink photo. Probably at the airport. Okay, it's either at the airport or it's once we got there. Anyway, regardless. Of course, first thing I did when I got to the UK, so this is at my sister's house. I'm not going to show people's houses or show any family members or anything like that. But one of the things I had to grab is ready brek, because we can't get it here in Australia. So that's nostalgia for me anyway. In my hometown, this is the Millennium Clock. That was the town's contribution to the Millennium celebrations at the turn of the millennium. It's a clock. Anyway, and just because of some of the Discord chats that I'm involved in, we don't get Greggs here in Australia. We're not in Perth anyway. And some of the people over there seem to be a bit obsessed with Greggs. So it's sort of a running joke. Every town I went to, I took a photo of a Greggs, and you'll see in some of I won't show you all the Greggs photos, that's for sure, but some of them I sort of made it about the Greggs rather than something rather stunning in the background, and I just pretended it was a photo about the Greggs. This is a bit of a flex, but it was just really special to be in W.H. Smith's, right, in my hometown. W.H. Smith's being where I used to pick up Amiga format, right? And to see on the shelf Amiga Addict in 2024, and not just Amiga Addict, this is a special, there's a 30-year celebration. And yes, there is an article by myself. Basically, this is me wondering what would have happened if I had an Amiga 1200 instead of a PC, jumping to a 386DX, such as I did at the time. But like, seriously trippy. It's not a flex. This is about how trippy it was to be in W.H. Smith's, seeing an Amiga magazine on the shelf. So kudos to Ravi and everybody that goes in, and Jonah and everybody that goes into putting together both Amiga Addict and Pixel Addict. But the fact that it was inside that magazine for sale in Smith's was an article by me. I couldn't have dreamt of this back in the day, not in a million years. So I'm going to get paid for those articles, and I get paid for talking about the magazines. Such a for me, this is payment. Yeah. Anyway, later on in the holiday, I showed my sister in another W.H. Smith's, and she bought a copy simply because she has no interest in Amiga. She goes, I have no idea why I'm buying an Amiga magazine, but that is so cool that you've got an article in a magazine. Quick pickups, photos as I unwrapped them, so I'm not going to bore you because there is a separate pickups video about those that I made, so you've seen all of that really, but this is just me sort of cataloguing as I unwrapped stuff, because I hadn't had chance to put my hands on these things that I'd bought months before some of this stuff. Oh God, the Trojan light phaser that got taken away by Heathrow Airport security. Yeah, you've heard the story about that. Always take a photo of a nice car. Of course you do. Fantastic. Oh, motorway service stations. Don't get me started on this friggin' hat-trick burger. That was abominable. Okay, this is Nottingham. My welcome to Nottingham. I did actually get out of this fee because I had taken... I had actually bought a ticket, and you can see it there, but I'd stupidly, whether it had flipped over when I shut the door, I don't know. Oh, look, there's Nikki. But yeah, it's freaking... Welcome to Nottingham. Here's a parking ticket, even though you've bought a ticket. But anyway, the reason why I was in Nottingham, of course, was for Kickstart. So before we got to Kickstart, this is the night before. So this is at the Ye Olde Trip to Jerusalem, the oldest pub in England, allegedly. So another drinking photo. Yeah, really great location, this place. Absolutely loved it. So thanks to Ravi, I think it was, that pointed out this venue for those wanting to have a drink and a meal the night before. And it's actually built into the side of this rock, which has got a castle on top of it, Nottingham Castle. Fantastic. Yeah, really stunning. This is a Kickstart, obviously. This is the Amiga that a heap of YouTubers, including myself, signed the bottom of. So sorry about that. We ruined it by scribbling all over the underside, but that was going to a charity auction, I believe. Hey, it's George Toohey. So yeah, lots of selfies with people at Kickstart. That's George Toohey. That's Reese from Control-Alt-Reese. And that's Mike Daly, who I eventually caught up with to get my copy of Lemmings signed. And there's me, George, and Nikki. So much fun hanging out with George all day. There's my signed copy of Hoffman's game, Secanoid, who knows how to pronounce it. I haven't even played it yet. I need to dig it out and play it, but I want to do that in the right setting. I want to rig up my CD32 to my hi-fi stack to get the most out of the music, is what I'm going to do. And there's my signed copy of Lemmings. Mike scribbled all over it, so that's undervalued. This is the next day, right? This is Ravi at breakfast at the hotel, and I was stunned that A, he was up, B, he was looking fresh, C, he was still alive, because the after party the night before, these guys were up until, I don't know, 2 a.m, 3 a.m. I don't know what time they actually made it back to the hotel. I piked out early because I had driving to do the next day. Whereas there's Ravi looking fresh as a daisy, ready for another day of Kickstart. Absolutely amazing. Don't know how you do it, mate. I can't do it anymore. Powys Castle in Wales, fantastic spot. Really stunning if you're into your castles. Here's another Greg's. Don't know if you've noticed in the background, but there's a massive castle that is in Carnarvon in Wales. But I just happened to make it a photo about Greg's. This is the smallest bar in Wales. Really recommend that. And Wrexham Lager was all right as well. Top of Carnarvon Castle, looking at the inside. I did not know. I mean, history, I have a bit of it. It's interesting to a point. I don't delve into it. But fascinating, the fact that the Roman Empire, for a period, was ruled from Carnarvon in Wales. I never knew that until I went here. It's worth doing these little tours. Wales, the head of the Roman Empire for a period. Who knew? That's a coffee halfway up Mount Snowdon. And this is, I believe, the top of Mount Snowdon. Seagull, he cheated. And here's us piking out and getting the train back down Mount Snowdon. Stunning. I love it. Mount Snowdon, for me, that's nostalgic because I first tried to climb it when I was 4. Failed. I've done it twice since. The first time being in 2017, I think, and then again, obviously this year. This is days and days later, weeks later, actually, still wearing my Kickstart entry band, seeing how long that's going to last. Next to my Casio Illuminator, Casio Royale. A motorway service station somewhere, but this Pong, I did a little short video, so look through the channel, you'll find it. But it's quite interesting way to play Pong, I must say. I love what Atari are doing in the modern age. Caravan park. Yep, Caravan. This is Buckle Groves. This is where my parents used to take us as a family, and I had to go there again, take Nikki there, and just have a really cool holiday. And lots of places. So this is in Somerset that I used to visit, and we visited them. This is Glastonbury tour, obviously in Glastonbury. The second burial site of King Arthur's remains, I believe. That's the legend, he says. Rising Infliction. And there we go. Because apparently they dug him up and then buried him again because there was a myth that he was going to return to once again rule England. And I think it was the Romans. I think it was the guy that ruled from Carnarvon that exhumed him and then buried him again to make sure he could never come back to take over England. I think that's the myth. Maybe one day it'll still happen. Come on, King Arthur. We need you. There we go. Yeah, lovely spot. And I tell you what, walking Glastonbury tour is nothing when you've done Mount Snowdon a few days before. The Cosmic Store. So I did a separate video about the retro shops and comic shops that I came across. So look that up. But yeah, this is in Wells. So this is another place in Somerset, smallest city in the UK, I believe. Of course, in the UK, for it to be a city, it's not based on population, it's based on whether or not it has a cathedral. This place is tiny, but it happens to have a cathedral, so therefore it's a city. And it was featured, it was the filming location, for, I've forgotten it again, Cornetto Trilogy. I did this last time. Hot Fuzz. And this fountain is featured in the movie, so yeah, photo next to the fountain. I used to go here all the time as kids. So, yeah. Back at the campsite, watching the footy, obviously. And then after the footy, bless her, the live entertainment still. And good singer, actually. Really good singer. Cheddar Gorge, love Cheddar. Love all of Somerset, but this is Cheddar Gorge. Went there many times as a kid. It's changed, but it hasn't. Love it. Absolutely love it. And this is inside one of the pubs down there as well. Just love the character of places like this. This is Bath. Again, city in Somerset. And this was, I don't know what time in the morning it was. I think it was about 11. That there, yes, it's a coffee. It's a Bailey's. It's a Bailey's coffee. As soon as we'd arrived at Bath. Yeah, again, another stunning location. Weather was a bit crap that day. But Bath is where I picked up the Alien vs Predator set, the deadliest of the species. So it's a subset of Alien vs Predator. That's another story. No pun intended. Me messing about setting up Raid Over Moscow, ready for doing some filming that day. Again, look on the channel, you'll find that video. Wilkins, if you're into your cider and you're in Somerset, you must look up Wilkins Farmhouse Cider. The only place you can buy it is at this guy's farm. Who was it? He said that... Oh, some famous singer. I forget. Anyway, the bikers, what do they call themselves? The bearded bikers or whatever they're called. You know the people I'm talking about. They've done a TV show. They've included Wilkins cider in what they've covered of the area as well. They loved it. Oh, the name was almost there. Guy with the Mick Jagger. Was it Mick Jagger? Mick Jagger's brother lives near Wilkins and he goes there to drink it. Apparently Mick Jagger doesn't like it that much, doesn't like cider that much, but you have to go there because it's an experience in itself, because you just go there and you're not sure if you're in the right place. You walk in this dingy shed, garage, outbuilding on this farm, and you are in the right place, and there's a big round wooden table, there's people sitting around drinking cider, doing tastings, and the tastings are free and they're full glasses. I was driving, so I just had a half a glass, and he's got 3 big vats, and you basically choose which one you want, the dry, the medium, or the sweet, or he'll mix it up for you, and he talks to you about how to get the flavour that you like, and then you buy it. And even though this stuff is fantastic, it's world renowned, there's no added preservatives or anything. Sounds like I work for the guy, but I don't. And basically, once you open it, you have to drink it within a certain amount of time because it will go off because it's pure. There's no additives, like I said. But it's £5, or it was at the time of me going there. It was just over £5, I think it was, for, what's that, 2 litres or whatever it is. So, best cider you'll ever find, and that's all he's charging. It's like his success has not allowed him, he hasn't allowed it to ruin his business model. Fantastic. I believe this is Weston-super-Mare, the pier. We didn't bother going all the way to the end of the pier because you have to pay to go to the end of the pier. I guess they got to keep it running somehow. But anyway, we always like a game of crazy golf. We did in Hastings as well, but I didn't take any photos of that. But we always play crazy golf wherever we get the chance. That's a shark I caught. That may or may not be true. Oh yeah, we went to Bristol. in Somerset, another city in Somerset. We wanted to walk across this suspension bridge, but unfortunately it was the day that there was a bit of a incident there in the news, so we couldn't walk across the bridge. And in one of the shops, that's right, I saw this. I couldn't resist taking a photo. I had to resist buying it. I didn't realise how tempted I was to actually buy a frigging Castle Grayskull and try and fit it in my suitcase. That would have been freaking awesome. Oh, that's a thing of beauty. Anyway, these are, again, they were included in the pickups videos, some comics that were donated to me, so that's cool. That was from Tom. Thank you again, Tom, if you happen to watch this. Me again, setting up shots for my raid over Moscow video at Buckle Grove Caravan Park in Somerset. Oh yeah, so we went to Liverpool, to the Cavern, which is of course where the Beatles originally played, as well as many other bands. Highly recommend it if you ever get the chance to go there. And there's a tribute Beatles band that play. Bands like Oasis started there, and this is the actual stage, underground stage, where the Beatles would have originally played. Had to lock Nikki in a phone box because she was too excited. And this is the tribute band. Yeah. Which is on another stage, so not on the original, but on another area where there's a bar and everything as well. Highly recommend it. I'm not into the Beatles; it's way before my era. Can't remember exactly where that was, but there you go. We found the Scooby-Doo and the gang. This is not at the Arcade Archive. This is in Cleethorpes. So I spent my whole time messing about with the stupid modern games and the penny shufflers, which of course have been around forever. And as we were walking out, I discovered they actually had some classics with proper CRTs tucked away in a corner. Who knew? Yeah, it's a multi one. This one, there were several games on it, I believe. I think, but I think and Outrun 2, which I absolutely love. Yeah. Just sitting away in the corner. That was it, Fantasy World. So there you go. If you're in Cleethorpes, head to Fantasy World and you can play those classic games for yourself. And the main reason we went there was because there's this Papa's Fish and Chip Shop, renowned, or at least once it was voted best fish and chip shop in the UK, and it's a really cool. It's almost like being in BioShock. It's a very 1950s feel to the inside of that place, and that whole building in there is the fish and chip shop, and it's table service at a freaking fish and chip. It's quite stunning. It's an experience. Highly recommend it. Where was this near? Can't remember. It's not Solihull. Somewhere up in the Midlands. Anyway, with my nephew, so we used to play Laser Quest all the time, and so him and some other family members, heaps of other nephews, in fact, as well, because we're all up there for one of their 40th. We played Laser Quest at this place, and I came. So Predator is me. That's me coming second in the solo. So that's the first game. The person that beat me was a random girl, and she beat me by, they'd teamed up. They weren't with us, and they'd teamed up. And all of my crew were going, we should team up too. I was like, no, because it's a solo game. You won't get as many points. So I wasn't teaming up. I was shooting everybody. She got all her points by purposely shooting her friends in the back, apparently. But she didn't beat me by much. And then in the second one... Oh, no, that was the Sheffield top scores of the day. I came fourth in the day. And where was I worldwide? I'm not on the worldwide one. There we go. Fourth in Sheffield that day. Don't mind if I do. Here's my score sheet. Is that the second game? No, that's the solo. Yeah, there we go. Oh, there was another game after that. And the person I got beaten by was my nephew's daughter, who was only 12, and she freaking beat me. And that was a team game as well. So no excuses, but I did come second. Beaten by a 12-year-old girl. Okay, so this is in a lovely place, part of the world that I'd never been to. So this is in Chesterfield. And there's the Chesterfield markets, which apparently are world-renowned. Who knew? But once we went there, we realised why they're world-renowned, because they're absolutely freaking stunning. This is a small section. It just goes and goes and goes. So everything you see here, repeat that 5 times over. And this is how big this market is. And it's a good job I was travelling internationally, otherwise I'd have spent far too much money. Because if you're into railway model railways, boxes of stuff just being sold for reasonable prices, or individual bits, Matchbox cars, collectibles, whatever you're into, there was stuff there. And there was stand after stand after stand with comic books, with classic computer games, mainly things like PlayStation 2 era, and around that, but other stuff as well. It just kept going and going and going. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, Chesterfield markets, they are world renowned. I would 100% go back to those again. Yep, and there's the Twisted Spire of Chesterfield. I do like old buildings, and it seems like a silly thing to take photos of, but I was taking photos of the back of TVs in charity shops and sending them back to my mates in Australia, because SCART is not very common over here. I'm lucky I've got 3 screens on my desk here that have all got a SCART port. No, that one doesn't. Those two have SCARTs. This one doesn't. Anyway, so they're hard to come by over here. And of course, they're a great way of getting a fantastic image on a flat screen out of things like the Amiga, the Spectrum, Plus 2, Plus 3, and some other systems as well. So, yeah, it was just amazing that every single freaking screen I looked at had SCART. And so I had to tease my mates back here in Perth with multiple photos. I was like, they're in charity shops. They're giving them away. This is a old church in, I've forgotten the name of the town, but basically it's Plague Town. You know, it's a story of where this town basically isolated itself, volunteered to do so as part of the bubonic plague and to stop it from spreading to the surrounding area. And they had these marker stones at the perimeters, where if you wanted to do trade with anybody outside that area, those holes were actually filled with vinegar. That's where you put the money, because they believed the vinegar would kill the plague off the coins. Because, I mean, it entered this town via a rug that somebody had bought from London, brought it up to the town, unrolled the rug, and that's where the plague started in this town, from a rug. So they were very paranoid. This is in Glasgow. So we were looking for the bar where we were meant to be meeting some people we'll come to in a bit. And we were 2.5 hours late, and then we found closer parking, and we were only 10 minutes late. If you're into Doctor Who, you'll get that story. You'll get that joke. So there you go. It was fairly cool to find the TARDIS just hanging around. And here we go. So this was at the Piper's, or the Piper, whiskey bar. And of course, that's where I met up with Dave and Stuart, Generation Pixel. So Dave from This Week in Retro, obviously. I've never met in the flesh, and now I had. And Stuart, obviously, as well. So really, really pleased that those guys made it out for a drinky, and to catch up in the flesh. Because there's nothing like it, right? It's nice catching up online, but you can't beat just sitting around, having a drink and a chat. Yeah, fantastic. Changes the dynamic of friendships. Love it. Yeah, so glad those two made it out. Really, really pleased. Still in Scotland. This is overlooking Loch Fyne, and there's what's that doing there? That's Loch Fyne. That's a Porsche from Sweden. I don't know why what's happened to the order. Okay, that Porsche is from Sweden. Had to take a photo of that. This is still Loch Fyne. There, Nikki really liked Loch Fyne. And I go to Loch Fyne because you get Loch Fyne whiskey. While we're milling around Scotland, we found this old mill. I had to take a photo of it because obviously Neil's exhibition space is in an old mill, so I had to sort of make out on the Discord that I'd gone to the wrong place, just at the opposite end of the country. There we go, Loch Fyne. Had to buy some while I was there. And this, I have to thank my brother. Actually, you can. Just to make him out sitting there in the light blue in the bottom of that picture. But this is Loch Rannoch. So this is the view from my hotel window. He treated me for my 50th birthday, which hasn't yet occurred, but obviously we live opposite sides of the world, to 2 nights at this stunning location, and he paid for absolutely everything. Yeah, can't thank him enough. Absolutely loved it. Another drink photo at Loch Rannoch. And then on the way back from there, going back down to Glasgow, we found Perth. Who knew? It was so close, but couldn't find a house, so we kept on driving. Still got the Kickstart band on at this point. This is at my mate's house in Solihull, testing the PSP and the other PSP that he had before choosing one to keep for myself. So very grateful for that. And that's sadly where the Kickstart band came off. And then Nikki joined the cast of Friends. Don't know how that happened. This is how much of the Lochs whiskies left over at this point. And I purposely stopped drinking it at this point, actually. A, because I knew I was going to Sweden, and I wanted to drink some with my mate Lee, my schoolmate Lee, so I abstained. And this is in Solihull itself, I think, in one of the charity shops. I so wish I could have fit these in my suitcase. So I found these both just sitting in a charity shop. I didn't even ask what they wanted for them, because chances are I would have bought them and just stored them at somebody's house. But Tank Command, my brother had that, as well as underneath it there, Crossfire. And you can see those are from the period. So Tank Command, I know I kind of wrecked for my brother because I loved the little model tanks that came with it. So I pinched them from the game and I'd play with them, so they went missing because I was very, very young. So sorry, John. But yeah, I kind of wrecked his game of Tank Command. But they were fantastic little models. And Crossfire, you know, you shoot ball bearings across the thing at each other, and great game. Yeah, get your face really close to a tabletop and shoot massive ball bearings at each other. Brilliant fun for all the family. Oh, this is not a loch. This is when we're in Sweden. Lakes, apparently, much bigger than lochs. Who knew? They kept calling these castles. It doesn't look like a castle to me. Or forts. They call them forts. I don't know. This is apparently the oldest town in Sweden. So we went there. So we went there with some friends. There you go. There's the Porsche again. I don't know what's going on with the photos. I had to take a photo of that because that is a gorgeous 996, I believe. No, not a 996. 993. It's the last of the air cooleds. I don't even know my Porsches. I own a freaking later Porsche. I don't actually know the old ones. I don't really go for them, but this was stunning. I found some Swedish beer, apparently it was Swedish, and some meatballs, much better than those in IKEA, I have to say. Apparently everybody takes photos of these coloured buildings, so I did as well. This was in Stockholm. Yeah, really nice place. This is the old end of Stockholm. So yeah, really cool. Lots of nature walks. We went on so many friggin' nature walks. And this is Hawkstone Lager. So Jeremy Clarkson's lager being opened in my hometown of Tunbridge Wells with a bottle opener from the Perth Hills in Western Australia. So bizarre. There's so much in that one picture. Only for me, really. Again, this is back in my hometown. So this is the Pantiles area, the historic end of the spa town. Having a beer. And this particular day, so OG Duffy, shout out OG, he was in Tunbridge Wells at the same time, and we just couldn't quite tee it up. And some of the messages he sent me that day didn't come through until days later. But I actually didn't want to gate crash because he was there on an anniversary weekend with his wife, obviously. But he had said, "Oh yeah, it'd be good if we could grab a beer." But I don't want to be the third wheel in that, mate. So hope you had a good time. In fact, I know you had a good time because I saw your video of the weekend. But yeah, it would have been great to have a beer with OG Duffy because I really like his channel. He seems like the kind of guy I'd get on with and sit down, have a beer, have a natter about gaming. Yeah, be great. Next time, mate. Next time. So that's the Pantiles. Near the Pantiles, I daren't go in this shop because you can see the kind of stuff they got in there. I don't even know what the prices would have been, but oh my god, yeah, temptation. So this is very much like my favourite bar here in the Perth Hills, which is called the Tap House. This is a place called Fuggles in Tunbridge Wells. Craft beers, stouts, everything. There's that many taps. Yes, all the taps you can see there are different brews. And then you get to the good stuff in the fridges where you get your special edition bottles and your limited runs and all of that kind of stuff. So if you like your beers, you can't go to Tunbridge Wells or Tunbridge without going in Fuggles. If you don't go in a Fuggles, you don't like your beers. Yeah, amazing place. Oh yeah, Hop Gun. So, sometimes I drink just because the name is cool. Hop Gun. Yeah, that was cool. Here we are. So this is in Stroud. This is the Arcade Archive. Again, I've done a separate video about this, but just a stunning place. Absolutely stunning. This battle zone, and I didn't have any footage of this, but so on this battle zone, they've got obviously traditional battle zone, and then they've also got this other version which is made from, so Atari basically used the technology and put it up a level basically to make a simulation for the military, or was proposed to go for the military, and then they use that same technology to make another version of Battlezone. I think I'm telling the story right. Somebody can correct me in the comments. But so on this particular Battlezone cab, they can actually switch it to this super, not realistic, but this sort of military grade version of Battlezone. And so you get the bounce of the gun as you drive along, the weapons work differently, and yeah, you get different pickup weapons like machine guns and homing rockets and all of this kind of stuff. Really, really cool game. Absolutely love playing. So thanks to Holly for telling me about that and switching it. I know Alex had done a video. Alex did the Arcade Archive channel, and I've seen him do a video about it. But to actually play it, yeah, what an experience. I don't know anywhere else in the world you could actually play that. Yeah, amazing. So that's cool. There's Lee, my mate Lee there, playing on the right-hand side of the picture there. Oh, there he is again. Playing some asteroids, is that? Yeah, I believe so. And what I've forgotten, I mean, again, you see the videos about these things online. What I've forgotten was the level of overlays in terms of like the static graphics that they added to these games to make them look better than they were. So you've got, like in Asteroids, there's things kind of behind the screen. Then the screen, because it's reflected, looks like it's in front of this picture of asteroids, and then there's like another layer in front of that with asteroids kind of in front. Same on other games like, was it Space Invaders, Defender? I can't remember which games had these things. But you see videos about it, and because it's all 2D, you don't quite get the experience. And especially Space Invaders, most of the time I came across Space Invaders, and in fact I remember in Heathrow Airport one year, years and years ago, it must have been a generic cab that they'd thrown the card in, because it didn't have those extras on the screen. It was just monochrome screen, and you're playing Space Invaders. And it adds such a different element when you're playing on an original cab with all those, you know, static graphics in place, with the game reflecting on top of that, and it kind of feels ahead of its time. Because it adds more art to it. It adds more colour. It adds more depth. Yeah, it's trippy. It's really cool. So yeah, Neil was busy that day, but there we all are having a beer after though. So left to right, me, Lee. There's obviously Neil in the middle there, Holly, and Dan. Is it Dan? I think it's Dan, the sticker man. I think it's Dan. I'm gonna get it wrong. If it's not Dan, it's Dave or something else, or Jemima, something completely irrelevant. I think it's Dan. Sorry, mate. But yeah, really cool to catch up with a beer, and that was his Lotus. So yeah, at the Arcade Archive. This is when we're misbehaving, going back there after dark. Can't think why. And where was this? Maidstone. Who knew? I lived so close to Maidstone most of my life, but I didn't really go there that often because it's a bit of a dive. But actually, it's quite stunning if you go to the right parts. There's this river going through the middle of Maidstone. You can either go on a boat cruise, or you can hire this self-drive boat, which is exactly what we did. And you go up and down the river for a couple of hours, and it's amazing. Really cool fun. And then this is once we got back home, and I'm including this shot because I picked up SSX while I was over there, and also SSX Tricky. And the PlayStation 2 that I bought ages ago from the local tip has actually been the best pickup of my collecting, because the whole family loves it. So SSX, myself and my wife used to play when the PlayStation 2 was brand new back in the day. And so, yeah, haven't stopped playing that. And then SSX Tricky, my boys remember playing on the Xbox, so they've been playing that on the PS2. So yeah, stunning. And then bookend back in the tap house on the last day of my holiday. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that little trip down the through the photos. Hope it was Not as boring as most people sharing their holiday photos, but yeah, we had a good time. Don't know when I'll be back in the UK again. But when it is, I'll let you know. We'll have a good time. Catch you later.